everyone, welcome to Lifting the Lid Festival. My name's Terry and I'm a funeral celebrant and a memory quilt maker. Now I'm going to be telling you a bit about memory quilts today so that you may perhaps wish to make one yourself or get somebody else to do one for you, and I've got some ideas and inspiration for you. There's something about a quilt that helps us connect with our loved ones who have died in a really, really tangible way that can provide us with a lot of comfort and healing. Now, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how I got into making memory quilts. So, as a funeral celebrant, I go into people's homes and I hear all about their loved one that's died. I take lots of notes and then I go away and I write a lovely service for them, and then I deliver the service. Now, how I got into memory quilts was that I had started I took up quilting in my spare time, and I did a service for a spiritual healer, and I was talking to her daughter all about the service and what we were going to include, and I told her that I was making quilts using upcycled fabrics, so clothes, linens, anything really. I just didn't, they had to be upcycled in some way. I didn't want to buy new fabrics to make the quilts. So she said, "Oh, my mum's got loads of stuff that you can have, so do you want it?" And I was like, "Yes, please." So she gave me loads of her mum's dresses, her mum's house coat, her mum's curtains, all sorts of things, great big bag full. And I thought, what am I going to do with this? So I looked at it all, laid it out, and thought, I'm going to make a memory quilt in honour of this lady. So I did that, and I actually kept it for myself, and I still have it, and I snuggle under it at night watching Netflix. And because the lady was a spiritual healer, I always think that her healing vibes are kind of helping me and providing a lot of comfort. So what quilts can do is they help us to develop a new relationship with those that are no longer with us. During my services, I often talk about connecting with our loved ones in a new way, whether that be something you're already doing, like lighting a candle for them, or putting a photo on prominent display, or things like looking to the world around you for to find your loved one, perhaps in a colourful flower, beautiful flower, or falling autumn leaf. And another way of connecting with your loved one is to have a quilt made in their memory. There's something about a quilt, the way they're so tactile, and you can rub your fingers over them. There's something to hold on to. And of course, if you've used your loved one's personal items, then we can remain close to them for as long as we live, really. Also, if we make a memory quilt, it means that our loved one's legacy can be passed down through the generations, becoming a family heirloom. They also help with what to do with someone's clothes after they die. Now, that can be a very difficult and emotional decision. What do you do with them? Give them to charity? Give them to someone? Many people just hold on to them. They can't bear to part with them. But actually, making a memory quilt is something that can help you through the sad times and enrich the good times and help you hold on to your memories. Now, people often think of quilts as simple squares sewn together, which of course they are, but I've got some other ideas for you. So without further ado, I shall show you my first quilt, which is one I made in memory of my own mum and dad. They're quite awkward, so I hope you can see as much as you can of it. This one features all sorts of fabrics. So I've got my dad's pyjamas there. I've got Dad's summer shirt. He used to take me on Sundays to trips in the afternoon, so that really reminds me of that. I've got this panel here, which says Sogni Felice, which means sleep well in Italian. My mum was Italian, so I included that. I've also included this pattern fabric here that was actually the tablecloth used at my 9th birthday party. So the memories in this is amazing. Now, I actually had quite a difficult relationship with my mother. So making this has been an incredibly healing experience. I just can't tell you. It's just, yeah, it's just actually changed the relationship that I had with mum. So that has been quite transformative. Now, one thing to say, much like giving your the clothes away or doing something with them, if you're going to have a memory quilt made, or if you're going to be doing it yourself, the first cut is always the hardest. It's quite emotional to have to cut into like your mum's dress or your dad's shirt. But the first cut is the hardest. And actually, once you see what can be made with their stuff, it's just incredible, and it's so much better than everything just lying around in a cupboard for years, never seeing the light of day. Just popping this back. Oh, there we are. That's it. Right. Okay. So this is actually a duvet cover I made. My son asked me, "Mum, would you make me something?" So I thought, yeah, I'll make you a duvet cover. And I was honoured that he asked, because he is 20, so I was quite surprised when he wanted me to do that. So duvet cover for him. And what I did, I included both his granddads that have died, their shirts and their hankies, for example. And the shirt, you know, like I was quite crude with the design of this one. So this one still shows that this was a shirt, the sleeve and the pocket. I also included his own dad's shirt. He's still alive, but that was nice to include Dad's work shirt, so that, you know, my son's got memories of his granddads who are no longer with us, and his dad as well. Yeah, and he absolutely loves it, so I'm so pleased about that. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is you don't actually have to make a quilt. You can make something else, like a cushion, for example. My friend Vicky gave me her mum's embroidered hankies, her lace collars, and she said, you know, Terry, you can have them. And I thought, gosh, they're too beautiful for me to have. You know, I need to make something for you. So I just started, I got one of the hankies and I just started kind of going around in circles, inspired by the shape of the collars, and I ended up making a cushion. Often when I start, I don't know what I'm going to end up with. So, yeah, we've got this cushion. Now, I gave it to her during lockdown, when there wasn't much else to do except walk in the woods with the dogs. And I just presented it to her after our walk, and she just burst into tears. And yeah, it was quite an incredible bonding experience between the two of us, actually. And she's very kindly lent me the cushion back so that I can show you all today. Next quilt, a little baby one. This was made by my friend Sarah, who's part of the quilting group that I run. Now, Sarah actually isn't a sewer by her own admission. She'd never done anything since she was at school, but I think she's done incredibly well. And she actually made this for her little nephew that was being born, and she used her grandmother's bed linens, sheets and duvet covers, so that although the little nephew, the nephew will be the great-grandson. So the little nephew who's the great-grandson of the grandmother, he won't know anything of his great-grandmother, but her memory will live on in this quilt, and he will actually know something of her, and this will become a family heirloom as well. Again, she's been very kind in letting me have it to show you today. Something a bit different now. This is a piece I made. I've called it Tribute, and it is in tribute of those who lost their lives during the pandemic. I just wanted to do something to honour them in some way, and in fact I have used some fabric that was designed and made by my friend Catherine, who died 20 years ago, and her mum gave me this fabric, and I used that as a basis. So I wanted to honour her as well, and these lacy panels are actually my friend's mum's headscarves that she used to wear to church. So although it's a piece that honours many, it also honours my own loved ones as well. Now, the back of a quilt can be just as inspiring as the front, or just as important. And for this one, I've used purple, and I used it deliberately because it's the colour of spirituality. And I wanted to provide some kind of hope beyond what's happened. So that's why I used purple. Now, another cushion here for you. This time, something a bit different again. This time I've actually used photos and sewed them onto fabric. Now forget, you may think, oh my God, what is that? But it doesn't matter whether you like it or not. I'm just giving you some ideas. So I actually took some photos and some negatives, and I sewed them onto fabric. Basically, I also embroidered some words on here. It's more of an art piece, but you could take that idea and, for example, get photos digitally printed onto fabric and then sew it together. So that's something that can be done as well. Now, I don't know about you, but people often, I know I certainly do, have a drawer full of posh plastic bags. If you go to a posh place and you think, oh, I'll take one of their bags as a souvenir. And of course, they just sit in a drawer forever and ever. And so many people tell me that their mums have got plastic bags in a drawer. So that's another idea. Now, I didn't want to just see my bags just sitting there. I thought, I'm going to make something with them. So I actually made a kind of little piece that is a bag. It's a kind of shopping bag from shopping bags. It's incredibly simple and easy to sew plastic bags together. I thought it was going to be a nightmare, but actually it's been incredibly easy. So that's another idea. I've used little, I've cut shapes out here and put little images behind, but you could cut something out, put photos of loved ones behind. That would be quite a nice piece. And along a similar vein, I've made a little postage stamp quilt using actual postage stamps that my dad had kept. But again, you know, you could use photos, you could cut pictures out of books, letters, anything really. There's, you know, there's no end to the imagination that you can use and come up with your own ideas. You could make collages as well. That would involve not any sewing, but sticking of paper. That's another thing that you could do as well. Now finally, I wanted to show you this quilt because this is a communal quilt. This was made by 8 different people. Everyone did a square with a heart. Nobody knew what the other one was doing, and when it all came together, the joy that was felt by everyone was indescribable. Now, sewing with other people is an incredibly healing experience, particularly for those that are grieving. There's something incredibly meditative and contemplative about sitting there sewing. So, you know, that's something to think about as well. And of course, communal quilts, they can just bring everyone together, and you can have such a sense of fellowship from the actual act of sewing together and also putting your pieces together. Right, okay, well, we've come to the end now. So I've given you a taste of memory quilts, of the world of memory quilts, and hopefully you might have been inspired to make one yourself or get someone else to make one for you. Now, if you'd like to see more of my quilts, I'm on Instagram as Can't Stop Quilting. So if you just type in Can't Stop Quilting into Instagram, you'll see my page. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you best wishes for your own memory quilting journey. Bye-bye.